Hey, welcome everybody to the Intelligent Idea Talkers Podcast, episode number 2. I'm your host, D.
This is your host, Juce.
Yes.
Saying what's up to everybody and peace. About to talk about the whole Doctor Strange.
Yeah, man.
Doctor Strange movie coming out.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say before we even start this episode number 2 on the Intelligent Idea Talkers Podcast, a lot of this, we started this podcast, roughly a week ago. It was our first episode. And I just want to say real quick, this podcast is really unscripted. I mean, we send each other articles that we would like to broach as subjects on the podcast throughout the week, but we don't discuss particularly exactly what we're going to say to each other beforehand
until mere moments,
until we're actually talking about the subject. So listening to last week's episode, we kind of had a tendency to flow this way and that. The conversation ebbed and flowed, and we had a tendency to get off subject. That might happen from time to time here on the Intelligent Idea Talkers Podcast. But I just want to say, if anybody has any comments about that, if you're listening to this, if you don't like that, if you do like that, any ideas, we'd love to hear them. I mean, honestly, feedback is just as important to any good podcast as the subject you talk about. So, yeah. I just want to get that out there.
You can send us the email at IITY podcast@gmail.com and or just drop a comment in the video description, because we're on. This is all over YouTube, so it's easiest to find.
YouTube, search Intelligent Idea Talkers
Podcast. You have to put an entire thing in because we got no real following yet, but it's cool.
Oh man! So first subject up for discussion is
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
And Hollywood whitewashing everything.
Man, of course Hollywood is going to whitewash. That's what they do.
But to an extent, like, it's just like, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Like, you don't have to have for this movie, they have a setting where it's an Asian ancient setting. And then all of a sudden, this white woman pops up. It was like a bald white woman. It's like, that's cool. I know that there are monks. Pema Children is one. Like, she's a monk. She's an old white lady, and she's a Buddhist monk. It's great, but she's not what the movie needs. Like,
I mean, she's not. But a lot of movies that we've seen up to date have been whitewashed. There is actually a lot of diversity in the comic book genre in that whole world. I mean, I think there is in the written text. I don't know if it has yet to show its face in the movie. In the cinematic aspect, maybe they do have more of a tendency to whitewash. And real quick, the article that we are drawing a lot of our information from is entitled "Doctor Strange Writer Reveals Why Ancient One Isn't Chinese," and it was written by Brian Gallagher. And I imagine we'll put a link to that in the
we will. And it's actually a really good article, because Gallagher, he writes it very well. And what's the
was that the guy who plays?
Oh, yes. C. Robert Cargill. So in his explanation, he does bring up a good point, which I can't deny that. Whereas, what's he saying? That the Ancient One, he's changing the person playing from an Asian. What's his actress's name?
The actress who plays her's name is entitled Tilda Swinton.
Right.
That's the actress who plays the Ancient One. A white woman playing a Tibetan character. Is it Tibetan or Chinese?
Right. I'm trying to find his exact.
But you know what? They also have it paired with Scarlett Johansson, who we all love as the Black Widow in all the Avengers, Captain America movies. What
they're doing with her as the Ghost in the Shell lady, right?
Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. They have it paired with her playing the Ghost in the Shell, who's actually an Asian character in the anime series. I mean, of course Hollywood is going to whitewash. They want to appeal to the white demographic who has a tendency to, I don't know, maybe spend more money than the black demographic. I mean, maybe, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason they made the Ancient One a white actress. There's a reason they made.
Here's why he says. I've just found it here. This quote. Cargill says, "The Ancient One was a racist stereotype who comes from a region of the world that is in a very well political place. He originates from Tibet, so if you acknowledge that Tibet was a place and that he's Tibetan, you risk alienating 1 billion people who think that's bullshit and risk the Chinese government going, hey, you know one of the biggest film watching industries in the world? We're not going to show your movie because you decided to get political.
Which makes perfect sense. You don't want to. You can't alienate a billion ticket
people.
sales. You know what I mean? Like you just can't do it. Like,
but
it makes
wouldn't
sense.
you have to? But okay, but they still have this Asian Tibetan setting. They just changed the race of one individual, and I'm just like, is that fair? Like, is that
maybe
does that reconcile everything? Because I don't think it does.
Maybe. So does the Asian population, do these Asian people who are going to watch this movie, do they have a problem with a white character playing the role of the Ancient One? I mean, because if they do, then maybe certain people should have allowed them to cast an Asian person to play an Asian character. But in the article itself, it says that Tilda Swinton, who's the actress playing the Ancient One, she spoke out about the controversy, revealing that she was never approached to play an Asian character. So they never told her to actually play an Asian character. She's just a character in the movie entitled The Ancient One. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
That sounds funny, though.
It does, because the character in the comic book and in the mythos of this world is an Asian character, but at least they told her, don't act Asian. You know what I mean? Is that don't act Asian while you're doing it.
Thank God. I mean? Please, Jesus.
Yeah, please don't act Asian. Pull off an Asian acting white woman. Right?
Don't
please.
do the accent.
I don't want to see that.
Stop it. Don't. Thank you. But what I was thinking is, like, she does have the garb. She has the clothes, and she hits him with, like, the open palm fist, yo.
That's a cool looking scene right there.
That was a cool scene, though.
That being said, I'm still totally excited to see this movie.
That's gonna be good.
I mean, race relations is a touchy subject. Wherever you talk about it, broach it. But I don't care who it is. You could be talking about Asian. They could have cast a black person to play this role. Black people would be up in arms about this shit.
No, because black people ain't Asian.
Well, exactly. But Asian people would be up in arms. But it's just the fact that...
What if you wanted to change the whole venue? Like, what if you wanted to change the whole magical lineage? I guess is what they're trying to do. They need this magical lineage, so what's cooler than ancient Chinese magic, or Tibetan magic? It's you could go with African magic, but then you have a whole different situation. It
would be the same situation, just with a different type of people having a problem with it.
But they could have used a wizard. They could have Merlin in that joint, punching them with the open palm fist.
I don't know. I'm still totally excited to see this movie. I'm not, surprised. In case it's news to y'all, I'm not white or Asian. I'm an African American male, Black American male. Yeah, might be a surprise, but I'm still totally excited to see this movie. I don't have a problem with this actress. Start the show over again. Just found out D was black. I don't have a problem with this actress. I don't have a problem with her supposedly playing an Asian character, the white woman. And I'm not even sure that American Caucasian people have a problem with it. This movie's going to sell big, just like every other superhero movie. People hated on Batman vs Superman. It's still sold big. The numbers are still high, approaching 500 million last time I checked, in sales, domestic sales. Might not be the exact numbers that DC and their partners were hoping to get, but any superhero movie you drop is going to make money. I'm excited to see it.
What about what was the article you sent me about the next Batman movie, the do's and the don'ts for the next Batflick movie?
Batflack,
you know what I'm saying? They had some pretty good points.
I don't know. I'm kind of not trusting DC right now. I feel like a scorned girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I finally see where all my ex-girlfriends were coming from. I mean, it's like they give you something bad and you just come back because you're so in love with the whole superhero genre. I mean, Batman vs Superman was not... It was not a terrible movie. It just could have been so much better, and I think people were so disappointed because they saw the potential of the movie that they just were never fulfilled in any one aspect of it. Like, they tried to shove so much into it, you weren't really satisfied by any one thing. The fights you weren't satisfied by the fights. You wanted to see more action. You weren't editing. Satisfied by the love story. Even you wanted to see. No, I wanted to see more of it. Going back to this article.
Wait a minute, you wanted to see more Lois Lane in the movie?
Maybe not Lois Lane, but maybe some more flirting between the actress who played Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, and Batman, Bruce Wayne. Bad. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little more there. I mean, I don't know. There was just so much shoved into that movie. But anyway, the title of this article leads us into our next topic is what Ben Affleck's Batman movie needs to avoid.
It was on the Looper website, written by Andy Scott.
It's the upcoming Ben Affleck's produced Batman movie. Says he already has a script written for it via Entertainment Weekly. I mean, I'm excited for it. Maybe. I mean, it just goes back to like listen, while this whole superhero sci-fi thing is hot, you have to drop movies now because 10 years from now, nobody might care. I mean, our attention spans are so short. I mean, but this has been a good run. I mean,
like, don't lose the footing. Like, keep trudging on.
Keep trudging on, pushing them until we're all tired of it. Keep moving. Nobody's tired of these movies yet. So, if Ben Affleck does produce a Batman movie and it comes out, we're all going to see it. Yeah. Like, we will go see this movie. Like, as your fanboys, fangirls will go see this movie regardless of what critics or anyone else would say. But the first point in the article was that the Ben Affleck produced Batman movie, it can't be too serious of a film.
So for me personally, that's the one I wholly disagree with. I don't think we need another grinning Batman like George Clooney. We don't need that junk. We need a Batman who's the stone-faced, not killer, but the stone-faced like fighter for justice. He has a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. But it's not for you, criminal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like he's totally serious when it comes to
he can crack jokes when he's Bruce Wayne, fair enough. But as Batman, I don't want to see,
That being said, we also don't need another Dark Knight. We don't need another one of those. I mean, the best thing about any of those movies was always the villains. Outside of maybe Batman Begins.
The technology was cool. Some of the technology
was cool. The storylines were cool in the movie. It's just so serious. And I wanted to see more action and more superhero-y things going on. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to see him sulking around the Batcave and, it's like, step up and figure some stuff out, man. Like, those movies were overly serious. Whereas Batman vs. Superman was not, I didn't take it as serious as any movie in the Dark Knight trilogy, but that, to me, was the best Batman that we've had maybe since Michael Keaton. You know what I mean? Like, since the very first Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman that he portrayed in Batman vs. Superman was the best Batman we've had since Michael Keaton.
He was the best Batman in a long time.
So keep it in that vein. I mean, I like the seriousness of Batman vs. Superman. This article is saying that Batman vs. Superman might have been a little bit too serious. I kind of disagree. If they would have had more action in that movie, they would have had more action throughout the movie, then maybe we wouldn't have been so serious and somber-faced so far into the movie. You know what I mean? Like, if that scene he had where he saved Martha Kent in the warehouse, if they had a scene like that earlier in the movie to show us Batman's badassness,
but wait a minute,
it might not have been so serious. It might have been, oh man, that was tight, that was cool, and it would have gave you a moment of levity throughout the movie. Like,
there was that one scene though where he was, it was at the very beginning of the movie when the cops with the two cops and they were looking for that one criminal, and Batman was in that joint in the corner on the ceiling.
That was tight.
That was cool.
I like the whole brand thing. I like branding guys.
Punched the wall and he was moving fast. I was like, oh wow! Like, cool. They need to make. If they did a movie of Batman where he was like that.
More like that, like kind of scary,
dark, and
he could pop out the shadows, and but also with a light side to it. It doesn't need to be too serious.
Maybe
Marvel does a really good job of balancing the two, I think, man. I mean, it's going off of the DC topic, but Marvel does a really good job of balancing the serious aspect of the movie versus the comical side of the movie. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. will sprinkle in a joke while he's fighting the Incredible Hulk and the Hulkbuster armor. You know what I mean? Like, he'll sprinkle in a joke. Like, it's a serious fight. You're like, oh, man, like, is he going to be able to take out the Hulk? But then he'll say something funny and you'll laugh. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it is Tony Stark.
That's Tony Stark, though. That's not Batman.
I'm not saying that Batman has to be the one to make the jokes. You know, he could be the guy, you know, laughing at him or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just, there's a way to make these movies lighter.
All right, to segue, how about we jump to the, what was it? The last point on here was it has to avoid the Joker.
Hold on. Before we do that,
I know, but I was just saying.
Suicide Squad is coming out soon, and they said that Suicide Squad has to go back for reshoots. Like, what do you think about that, man? I mean, when you see the response from a movie as highly anticipated as Batman vs Superman not getting the numbers or the respect that they think that it deserves, and they have to go back to reshoot a movie that.
Yeah, put some
that they were talking about making the same time as Batman vs Superman. It's supposed to be a bridge between these, you know, it's supposed to be a bridge between Batman vs Superman and the whole Justice League universe, and that's Justice League movie that comes out. And they have to go back for reshoots, man. To me, that's a red flag, man. It's like, what are y'all doing? What direction are you guys trying to take these movies? Because you have to go back for reshoots. It's like, so the movie wasn't good. You know what I mean? You don't have faith in your product.
I think they got scared. Like, I think that's what it was.
That's
like, I'm not saying it's not
faith
bad.
In your product.
I think that the reviews scared them. Like, we have Will Smith in this joint. It's not going to be that bad. Like, if Will Smith is carrying this movie, it's not going to be that bad. And the Harley Quinn scenes were legitimate. Like, she looks good.
They wanted to make it more appealing to people because
it looks dark.
Not that many people know about, you know, Suicide Squad. You know, like, I don't know. It's like if they come out, they might not have the bigger numbers, as big of numbers the first week that it comes out. Maybe they were, before the reshoots, they were depending on word of mouth and critic reviews boosting the movie up as time went along. Kind of like Ant-Man, you know. You weren't planning on seeing Ant-Man before.
I didn't see that joint until DVD, honestly.
I didn't plan on seeing it. I was like, man, it's going to be one of those little brush-off movies like the Green Lantern, or one of those little movies they sprinkle in every now and again.
I went to see Green Lantern.
It was a cool movie.
I thought it was going to be good. Oh, I'm still hurt off that. Look, so the Suicide Squad
that
movie,
scares me when you have to go back and reshoot.
The reason they're reshooting it, though, I would imagine, is that they got the reviews. They saw how jumbled it was. I don't know if they saw the movie, but maybe, I imagine there's... How many characters in it? Mm-hmm. It's 8 characters? Imagine they try to put story plots for 8 of those characters.
Know about. Nobody knows about any of those characters outside of Harley Quinn.
Nobody knows about Boomerang Man. Like,
nobody knows about
Slipknot. Like, who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows these guys. But they're gonna jam 8 characters into a movie. They probably looked at this and said, "All right, there's way too much going on here. We should probably edit some stuff out. There's certain things people don't need to know about." We're probably going to end up killing off some of these guys.
Were you planning on any of these reshoots before Batman vs Superman came out? That's my question. It's like, you know, probably not, and that makes me scared, man, because it's like, maybe they need to redo this whole DC thing from the top down. I like Man of Steel, but if you look at the numbers for that movie, it really didn't make that many sales, and it didn't get the kind of acclaim that they were probably hoping that it should have. That I thought that it did. I mean, I love that movie. That was, to me, Man of Steel was one of the best superhero movies I've seen outside of Iron Man and the first Avengers. I mean,
that was the best Superman origin story I've ever seen.
It was one of the best DC movies that ever come out, like surpassing all of the Christopher Reeve Batmans and the Michael Keaton Supermans and the Michael Keaton Batmans. It's just, that was the most up to date and best action wise movie, superhero wise, Superman I've ever seen. Like, so, but you know, I mean, it's like, man, what are you guys doing over there? That's just what I want to know.
The second guessing themselves, they got to put some respect on that jump, man.
One of the points says it needs to forget about Superman before we get to the final point of the movie. It says it needs to forget about Superman. I totally agree. Yeah. We've already done Batman vs Superman. We've had a Man of Steel movie.
Just save it for the Justice League.
Save it for the Justice League. If they come out with a solo Batman movie, you need to have another DC character in it, making a cameo. Maybe a character that's going to be coming out with a movie soon after, like an Aquaman or Flash or, you know, something like that. Because, you know, Superman's been done. Superman and Batman's been done. And you want to give some promotion to your next movie, your next character. Hopefully these guys are smart enough to know this, but they went back to reshoot Suicide Squad. I mean, So are they smart enough to know this?
Dude, I think they have to do that, Joe. And I think they should listen to the fans. Like, I think that's a good thing. Did you see the new Apocalypse? The new makeup and costume for Apocalypse they came out with?
For the new X-Men movie?
For the new X-Men movie, yeah. You saw how they redid it? So the original one, like, the internet was going crazy talking about Apocalypse was like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. So... And they actually stepped back. They was like, okay, well, I can see that. Hold on, man. They stepped back and they made some adjustments. They redid his costume.
Listen, I can't let you shit on my man Ivan Ooze real quick, though, okay? Ivan Ooze was the shit, all right? Like, that was one of the best Power Ranger
that was a CGI
villains.
Was fresh, dude.
I mean, Ivan Ooze was the man. But anyway.
Dude, I'm saying, though, like, they definitely redid it. And I think for the time they took to redo it, it was worth it. At least for the visual effect of looking at who Apocalypse is going to be. Now, as far as Suicide Squad, yeah, like, good. You saw what they messed up in Batman vs. Superman. So take that moment, look back, and see what you can cut. Or see what you can reshoot, you know?
But that gives me no faith that you guys... I mean, you never hear about this with Marvel. And we have to keep comparing DC to Marvel because that's the competition. You know what I mean? Like... that is their competition is Marvel. They'll always be compared to Marvel. You never hear about Marvel going back to do reshoots. Maybe they do. Maybe they do go back to do reshoots, but we never hear about it. I mean, they put, $180 million into making a movie like Ant-Man, and I don't know if those numbers are accurate. Don't be commenting saying that I'm stupid and I don't know. I don't know if that's an accurate number, but they didn't spend that much, and they made 3 times that. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, DC needs... the executives at the top, they need to sit down and just copy off Marvel's book, man. Copy how Marvel's doing it.
I don't know. I know
these guys are smart enough to figure this out.
The stories are not the same. The characters are not the same. Like, one of the issues with Superman to begin with, and this goes back to the comic books, is that Superman has always been a character where you can rarely ever find somebody. Like, they had to create people solely for him to use his strength against, because he was the most unstoppable being in the universe, pretty much. So they had to have characters like Lex Luthor. The only reason he runs the Superman is because he's intellectually intelligent. He's super smart, And that's the only reason he's ever been able to mess with Superman at all. And Superman just had the nice heart to not crush him, It's just like, yeah, you gotta, and I think it's good. Like, you have different characters and you have a completely different setup. Like, nobody in Avengers is like Batman, No. Like, and that's the thing they have to work with,
Yeah, I mean, it's what they have to work with. But like you said, they have to listen to the audiences, man. You got to listen to...
And I like that they do. Like, it's a sign of humility, I think. And I think it's going to make the movies better in the long run. Personally.
Another point that they said about the Ben Affleck, what he needs to avoid in his upcoming produced Batman movie was to avoid shoehorning a love interest into the plot. Now, this is one I totally disagree with. I mean, I'm not a softie.
Hey, man.
I don't mind seeing a good love interest in my superhero movies. I mean, we keep talking about Batman vs. Superman. One day we'll stop eventually. But if Superman didn't love Lois, I mean, there are plot points and twists that are taken from his love for Lois. He never would have stopped fighting Doomsday to go rescue her. She never would have got the kryptonite spear. Issue. Okay, yes, but the same.
Look, okay, if it's a love interest
to a Batman movie,
if it's a love interest, if they have to do it,
you don't want to see Bruce Wayne hook up with Gal Gadot. You don't want to see him hook up with Wonder Woman from that movie. That would have been an interesting relationship.
I personally don't.
As long as they weren't like staring deeply into each other's eyes, and it doesn't have to be like we're in love.
I just had this thought of like Batman trying to save her. It's like, wait a minute, you're Batman. That's
but it's like
Wonder Woman,
it's like a human emotional connection. When you see love on the screen, everybody can identify with being in love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's gonna kill the movie though. Like,
it depends on how they do it and how much they focus on. I love that
people are in love, but I also know that it's gonna kill the movie. And I know that when women go to see a movie like this, all right, I'm not gonna say I know. But I imagine that sometimes even women go and see a movie like that. Like, all the women in these movies end up having their place in the movie is to be saved. Like, I'm so glad Wonder Woman is so strong in this movie. She didn't need to be saved.
Yeah,
but
like
usually,
a Batman
love interest is going to end up getting caught, and she's going to be hanging in the balance, and he's going to have to choose. That's all that's ever happened. That's all that's gonna happen. Even with Catwoman. So if you do have a love interest, do a Catwoman. But I don't want them to make
like
a Catwoman
the
because
whole
they can't do
Vicky
it.
Vale. You don't want to see Vicky Vale in the next movie? Come on, man. We haven't seen Vicky Vale since Michael Keaton. Man.
I'm good. She was the best Catwoman, and that was rough.
I don't agree with that.
Who was better than her?
Okay. We'll agree to disagree on that one. So the next point is don't revisit the origin story. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Don't revisit the origin story. We saw that in Batman vs Superman. We saw it in
obviously
Michael Keaton's Batman. We don't need to see it anymore.
It's not that deep.
Everybody's had a whole, we know.
It's sad.
I can ask my 4-year-old son what's the origin story of Batman. He'd probably tell me. Okay, like we know. Like his parents got shot, he turned into the Batman, fell down a well. All right.
Yeah.
Discovered the Batcave.
Great.
Like we know. Okay, and the last point that
one
you
I was
wanted
trying
to
to get
bring
to.
up. Yeah, it was about 5 minutes ago. My bad. You want to do the honors? It has to avoid the Joker.
It has to avoid the Joker. I disagree.
Now, I only agree with this. You disagree. Why? Why do you disagree?
Because Joker is one of the most compelling characters in Batman.
True.
Like, ever. Like, even he's more compelling. Like, as far as compulsion, you want to know what is going to happen next. You don't know with the Joker.
He was the most compelling character of any of the Batman Dark Knight trilogy movies that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
his movie was the best. He was the best character in all 3 of those movies.
He's a mad genius, and he's unpredictable.
And he really is psycho. He's not in it for the money.
He's
not in it for the power, even, really. He's just in it to totally mess with Batman.
And honestly, he has a relationship with Batman. And that's one thing that I would love to see explored. That they even haven't really done in the movies at all so far. There's his relationship, his personal relationship. Like in the whole Batflick series, I think that's the official name of it. The Batflick.
Batflick.
You know what I'm saying? Batflick. So this whole thing with Batflick is it's in the future. So he's had encounters with Joker so far. He's had run-ins with them. So this shouldn't be new because we saw the suit that was spray painted. We know that he has a relationship with Joker, and I want to see them dig into the relationship. I want to see. It doesn't even really matter what it is. Just hash out something unpredictable and unexpected and terrifying.
It is compelling because at the same time, like in a
I don't want to make Batman a horror movie, but still,
the Joker can be funny, and you want people to kind of be grounded in reality. And he is just a man. He's crazy, but he's a man. So it'll give audiences something to identify with, as far as everybody in the movie not being super powered or, he's just a madman who is out to get Batman at all costs, but I will say the reason why I disagree that it should avoid the Joker is because, simple fact, you're about to come out with Suicide Squad. Okay? Yeah. Suicide Squad has the Joker in it. We don't need to see the Joker in a Batman movie Batflick movie that will come out after Suicide Squad, Yeah. Joker is probably one of the most covered characters in the Batman universe. I mean, what other character have we spent more time with? There are so many other characters, man. Like, it goes back to why this movie, the next Batman movie, shouldn't feature a Superman at all. There's so many more characters in the universe, you know what I mean?
Clayface.
Bring in Clayface. Bring in Killer Croc. Bring in the Electrocutioner. Bring in somebody. Like, it doesn't even matter if it's just a character that you bring in and Batman defeats quickly.
Oh, they can do
just
Man
want to see
Bat.
different guys.
Yeah,
Man Bat. I mean, we just want to see different.
Story.
We want to see someone different, Bring in Mr. Freeze. You could do an awesome Mr. Freeze with today's CGI. I'm not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, okay?
I'm sorry, that's the first thing I thought about. Oh my god, I was like, wait.
But you go back and look at that movie, it was funny, man. It was funny. Like, all his scenes were funny, like nowadays. You look at those.
Oh, man.
But yeah, you can do an awesome Mr. Freeze, man, with today's technology and CGI. I mean, that would be so awesome, man. I mean, there's so many other characters. We don't need to see Joker again. It's like the same thing as Batman's origin story. We don't need to see.
They could push Joker back, but they're gonna have to come back.
Of course,
because they're gonna have to come back.
Especially if they're as
if Batman gets a three movie series like the Dark Knight trilogy. Mm-hmm. If he gets a 3-movie series, one of those is gonna have to be Joker.
It has to, especially if you're going to take it in the direction of Injustice, and you want these movies to blend. Now, anybody who's played the game Injustice knows the story. As some believe, and I'm a believer of this, that is the direction they're taking this Batman vs. Superman whole DC cinematic universe. They're taking it in the direction of Injustice. I mean, it makes sense. what is the next bad guy that we can see on the screen? You've had Doomsday. You've had General Zod. It makes sense for Superman to be the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, he is the one who's ultimately stopping these guys. And, you know, it makes sense that you have all these characters that have to eventually band together to defeat him. You know, he is the big baddie. So, if you're taking it that direction, you have to bring back Joker. I just think he's been done. You know, that character's been done. You know, let's see somebody else. Why not? You know?
Yeah, why not? All right, I can dig that, you know.
I can dig it.
But what about the all right, so new movie coming out. We just saw the preview for it. The Snowden movie, man.
Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden.
The hero. Look, all right, I don't care what anybody says. I know the right-wingers, whatever you call those guys, the conservatives, they hate this dude. But he was a hero. He did what had to be done, and he did it for a good reason. And he revealed a lot of things to people that, to us, about how our data, how we were being spied on, that was just unethical on many levels, and lied to us about it on so many occasions.
That the powers to be didn't want us to know about.
Yeah, like, he
was vilified. It
only takes a little bit of research to realize, like, oh, well, wait a minute.
You know, why is he being vilified?
Why is he being vilified?
For telling the truth, for telling what was going on.
Why?
Because it was a government secret, and the powers to be didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want that to be public information. It's
so much like a movie that
the rabbit hole goes deeper.
They're doing a movie for it. Now, my only issue is this the right time to do a movie for it?
Is it too soon?
Man,
you know, I don't know, man. This guy is definitely an American hero. Like, he's somebody who stepped out on a limb to put the truth out there. So many people don't do it. But you know what? Maybe it is too soon to make a movie for it, man. It's everything's being commercialized. It's the commercialization of this story.
Right.
It's like, you know, we just got finished talking about Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, and you know, the next Justice League movie, and now they're coming out with Edward Snowden. Like, it's like, why is this being commercialized? This is a serious issue. I mean, we're being spied on.
I don't think it stopped.
This guy was hunted to the point where they were looking for him in other countries, and you know, like, why is this being commercialized, man? This kills me about, you know, sometimes the American public and just our society in general, man. Like, it's like such important topics and just be swept under the rug, like it just doesn't matter, you know, and to the point where it can be turned into a movie and profited off of and commercialized to the point where people don't take it seriously. When you put something in a movie, you know, people kind of stop thinking critically about it.
Right.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, they don't think about the reasons why did Edward Snowden get chased? Why did he put these secrets out? What were the government doing? When you bring up Edward Snowden, people are gonna say, "Oh, I've seen that movie." You know, like, that's all they're gonna know. I saw that movie. So the truth will be related to whatever happens in that movie. And I don't like that, man, because it's like...
And how much... Dude, I guarantee everything that's factual is not going to be in the movie. Because it can't be. You know, it just can't be. National security, it can't be. And that's the thing. Is how much of this is going to be fudged just to entertain the people? How much of this is going to be fudged just to bring in viewers? And the name is going to bring in viewers, definitely. But it's also going to bring in a lot of debate. And, like you said, man, like, how many people are going to look at this critically? Because if this becomes the official story of Snowden...
It will.
Like, I want to...
It will, man.
I want to make sure... And, of course, there's no way I'm going to make sure.
That makes me
But
sick.
I would love to see them at least acknowledge whether or not they had communications with Edward Snowden in the making of this movie. I want to know if they had any first-person input in making this movie, or this is just done from the I don't know, his cousin. Mm-hmm. His cousin told him how he grew up.
First person accounts or whatever those accounts
exactly.
are.
Like, I want to know whether or not this is a legitimate story from the mouth of the hero who's in hiding overseas. You know?
I would imagine he would have to have some kind of involvement or some kind of sign-off because of the fact that it's titled after him. You know, maybe there's some kind of rights issues there where you can't use my name and my likeness without my consent, right?
I don't know.
Maybe not as far as movie purposes.
He's a criminal. Like, do you have those rights still?
That makes me sick that he's vilified for putting out something. Yes, it was deemed as classified. When something like that affects so many people, I mean,
and it's not particularly like everything was for national security.
And that's why I don't watch the news and everything, because issues like this go unreported while it's not hot. Mm-hmm. If they're not chasing a guy through the California hills and there's a manhunt going on for him and they're burning down his cabin like that cop a couple years ago, it's not in the news. They don't tell you what happens after that. It just fades from human memory, and they give us the next piece of crap news or story that comes out, and it's like, okay, well, keep going. Forget about this. This was one thing. Now we move on to something else. And that the whole thing just gets on my nerves, man. I don't like the fact that they're making this into a movie. I definitely will not be going to see this movie in theaters. Maybe I'll watch it on HBO, something like that, HBO Go. No, I'm not going to see this.
Why not?
Definitely not if it comes out around the same time as Captain America. There's no way this movie is going to make more money than Captain America or Suicide Squad or any of these other movies we've been talking about.
Wait. All right,
this is just we're just talking about this for the issue that pertains to the movie coming out, as far as the movie and its anticipation of coming out. Like, personally, I don't really care about the Edward Snowden movie, because I won't take anything in here as factual, and it's all sensationalized, and it's all to push the human thinking about this in a certain direction. I had the same problem when they came out with the 9/11 movie. It's like something like
never saw that.
It shouldn't be sensationalized like that, man. It shouldn't be turned into a cinematic. Yeah, that's still a very touchy issue for people. Yeah. And like I said, when you put something into a movie format, you kind of make light of it. You make light of that idea.
Remember something?
Not all the time, because you come out with like documentary movies that don't make light of anybody's life or anything like that. But this particular issue, this Edward Snowden issue, is just really touchy, and I just don't like the sensationalization and the TV format, the movie format that is being put into, man. This is a serious issue. But more people are going to know about this movie. They'll know more about the issues of the actual Edward Snowden's subject from this movie than they do factual issues and evidence of what happened and what he actually released and what was on those files that he released and where he went, what he did, what they did to catch him. You know what I mean?
I think we have to see the movie to like I said, I don't know how far they're gonna go. Like if they do just graze and scratch the surface and change so many things that this movie is really not relevant, it just becomes another just showpiece, then yeah, I'm with you. But I think like this is an opportunity for them to tell the story of a hero. And while of course, like you said, just having it be in the movie theater is definitely not going to give it that much depth, it still gives people the opportunity, even the younger generation. This movie is acknowledging, in a way, this movie is acknowledging that he was a hero. He is a hero. He's not dead yet. But this movie is acknowledging that he is a hero. So if we can take at least that little bit from it. And if they do it right, this could open up a whole lot of different options of people to do research and to look. Like, we have WikiLeaks, and that's it's definitely something important that we, as a common people, should make use of and view and try to know about what's going on. What's going on in the government.
Lean on WikiLeaks, Wikipedia. I mean,
we should definitely try to fund them as best as we can, because those are real sources of information and things that they won't tell you in the news.
That's why I don't watch the news and stuff like that, because they try to feed you
useless.
They try to feed you a certain line of thought when the experience of living today has changed so much due to technology. I mean, we can do our own research on the subject. You know what I mean? I can type in Edward Snowden on Wikipedia or WikiLeaks and find out more from that than I can from watching the news when you report on Edward Snowden. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Which makes no sense to me. Why am I watching the news? Why am I watching this? So why would I watch this?
That's because their ratings are definitely down. Like mainstream news, Fox, CNN, their ratings are definitely down. They've been decreasing.
You're putting more news in my hand with my cell phone than you are with me watching your television
watching
show.
Bill O'Reilly's old nutty racist ass. Nobody's watching him, really.
Yeah, man. I mean,
not relevant people.
I don't know, man. Like all these social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, listen to me when I tell you this. I fully believe it. Maybe you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever you want.
You conspiracy theorist?
They are using these to build a database. Facial recognition from Snapchat. Information from Facebook. You put on there your phone number, where you live, where you worked, who your cousins are, who the people that you hooked up with through high school. Why do you think these sites got so big after 9/11? They're being used to keep tabs on people, man.
Metadata.
And people are putting pictures every time you Snapchat somebody. It goes back to podcast last week, episode number 1, Intelligent Idea Talkers. When we were talking about the segment there, we were talking about flying drones and surveillance cameras that are going to be as big as bugs, like flies that can fly in and land on your wall. That's facial recognition, man. Like,
news about...
They're building these databases right now through all these social media sites, and people can't see that, man. And this guy got in trouble for revealing
that they were doing that.
Some of these surveillance things. Exactly. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why are you getting in trouble for telling people the truth about what the government is doing? Don't I have a right to know that?
So here's the problem. The problem is that the government... You know how they classify things as top secret?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real discretion as far as... There's not a lot of parameters what would be and could be classified as top secret. They'll say, I went to this place instead of this place. Say I went to Florida instead of Miami for my vacation.
Instead of Mississippi.
Top secret.
Yeah.
Top secret. But it has nothing to do with their national security.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. So they have... And that's why a lot of people can't do the investigations on these people. You can't send people. Yeah, you can't send investigative teams to investigate the government organizations with these top secret files when they're lying and they're stealing and extorting, because all the files, all the evidence of these things are just simply classified as top secret. So it's just everything is, as soon as you label everything top secret, then it's out of anybody's hands. You can't. And there's no time limit. There's no time caps.
So how do we subvert
secret.
that? I mean,
well, I think they need to apply new laws.
I'm a firm proponent that a lot of people can't handle the truth.
Not implied. So
if we knew a lot of the stuff that our government did, if we knew, I was listening to a podcast last week. Speaking of podcasts, and they asked a very interesting question. If you knew my most intimate thoughts and details and what I did and the bad things I did, if you knew that stuff, would you still be my friend? You know what I mean? Would you still trust me? Or, apply that thought to anybody you know. If you knew exactly what this person was thinking and what they did in the past and what they're going to do in the future or their tendencies, would you still think the same way, about that person? So you can apply that to the government, man. A lot of people are not ready for the truth, including maybe me or you. If we knew the full extent to which our government is willing to go and has gone to either protect classified information or whatever, but you might have an uprising on your hands. You know what I mean? If people knew on a mass scale that they slaughtered women and children in Uganda for some political reason, that they ordered soldiers to fire into a crowd, what would that do? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what it would do. We would have to hold the people who were responsible for those decisions accountable.
But how far does the rabbit hole go? As
far as it needs to. If we need to clean out everybody up to the top to Obama, then fine, we'll clean them out and we'll get a new president. And that's the beauty about our country, is because everybody is replaceable.
Hey, you mean Hillary? Because Hillary's going to win this election. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, man.
It's set up from the beginning.
Dude, it is set up.
Going back to our connections between...
Don't you about to have me be a conspiracy theorist. Look.
It's set up. She's going to win. She is. You knew Bernie Sanders had no chance.
Dude,
when they start taking you seriously,
he did have a chance.
You're going to be a threat.
You know what the problem
was?
He
had a chance.
The media.
They realized, this dude is a threat.
The media smeared him, dude. Mm-hmm. You saw the ratings or the percentage of coverage Bernie Sanders got compared to all of them.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. I saw that.
That's obvious and it's blatant. It's obvious and blatant.
Blatant. It's right there in your face.
We were going to hide this person who's running just as much or more.
We don't want to show you or cover this guy that's running.
Who's covering
we're going to show
so
you
many
more
people
of the person that we want to win.
Who's actually has donations from people funding his campaign. Literally has donations from $30 donations from millions of people funding his campaign, as opposed to, a couple thousand millionaires funding her campaign.
But with all that, it's hard for people to go up against corporate America, man.
It's hard, but it needs to be done. America. And he did it, goddamn it. And if nothing else,
the only way we can...
This is a subject I'm passionate about. If anything else, he at least showed us that it was possible.
It is.
And he showed us that we need to try again. If it's not him now, then it'll be somebody better later. Because that's the thing. It's not about Bernie Sanders. That's one thing the media doesn't get. Mm-hmm. It's not about Bernie Sanders. It's about our millennial generation, who is the next generation, and it's about people who are tired of our current system, and that's even the previous generation, the baby boomers.
I mean, how can you keep repeating the same thing throughout history? You know, you get a candidate, they tell you these things that they're going to do when they get in office. They get in office, and none of those things happen.
But dude, that's
it happened with Obama. I mean, it's like
it hasn't been all throughout history.
That's what I'm saying. It goes back to what you're saying about people being tired of this system. Like, you can't keep feeding us the same with this level of information that we have accessible to us nowadays. You can't keep repeating the same mistakes of the past, the same things of the past, and expecting people to just accept it. This is not the 1950s. It's not the 1970s. This is 2016.
Right, know? And we have technology on our side.
We have thoughts of our own.
We have polls. We have information.
People are starting to wake up.
And people who are voting and trying to support these progressive ideas are people who are coming from perspectives that have been researched. You know, perspectives, and if they haven't been researched, they're at least plausible in the terms of what we would really consider freedom. Ted Cruz is not about freedom. Ted Cruz wants a theocracy. That's scary as hell to me. But there's people like
Ted Cruz is about maintaining the status quo.
Hillary's about maintaining the status quo. I would say Ted Cruz would change a lot of shit.
And that's why
churches would be running.
They're scared of Bernie Sanders because he's not about that. But, you know, at the same time, it would have been hard for Bernie Sanders to achieve anything that he was talking about.
Yeah, but that's not...
The writing is on the wall for Bernie Sanders,
But that's not the point.
When you lay off a bunch of your staff, and, you know, this was up for a topic of discussion from the articles we were sending back and forth to each other throughout the week. But when you lay off a lot of your staff, the writing's on the wall, man. They don't want Bernie Sanders to win. He's not going to win. Like, He just won't, man. The only way that American people, like us as the individuals, can control the corporate monster known as American capitalism and big business and politics, because it's all the same thing. Big business and politics is the same exact thing. You know what I mean?
It is now. For now,
these politicians have business interests, and these businessmen have political interests. It's the same thing. It's intermingled. They're married. They're in bed together. The only way we can control it is the way we spend our money. You know, if Bernie Sanders can't incite that, he kind of did. You know, he had a lot of people donating to him personally. But
I need to make a statement. So the government has not always been as corrupted by the corporations as it is now. It has not always been like that. People love saying that. We love making that assumption. But there were laws. There were allowances that have been passed that have allowed that to happen. Glass-Steagall, you know what I'm saying? Citizens United. These are things that happened, I don't know if it was the 70s or the 80s, but they happened in that time period. And since then, it's been a slippery slope, and we've been sliding downhill. Our democracy has been sliding downhill ever since. A lot of this
stuff has been in progress for 30, 40 years now.
Right.
You know, you
but we have to, well, we've identified them now. Mm-hmm. So what other job do the American people have other than to identify them and then try to change them, try to repeal these things that we have obviously we've seen the trend since they've been implemented, you know. And I'm sure there's other things involved. I'm not saying it's as simple as repealing this and that, but the idea is that we have to assess the problem and then find a solution for the problem, and we see what the problem is, and that's what's always been helpful. We know what the problem is. Corporations are putting money into our politicians.
We do know what the problem is.
We know what the problem is. But how can you sit there and deny
the political issues like global warming or something? Like, how can you deny science?
How do you deny that?
It's happening, you know. But it's like you said, how do you fix it? These changes would be a ripple effect through the American public, and I'm not sure a lot of people like change. You know, we talk about radical change and we talk about that, but the actual change of it, you know, what is going to be affected? Because us on the ground level, it's here in ground zero. We're going to be the ones most affected by this change that we're talking about. Nobody knows exactly what that kind of change is. Is it laws? Yes.
That's true.
Is it a way of thinking? Yes.
That's true.
Is it our spending habits, eating habits, our resources? Global warming. If we do stop using gasoline and we switch to electric cars, what kind of changes is that going to have? So it's going to take sad to say, man, it's going to take I hate to get too doomsday, but it's going to take a cataclysmic event.
That's the thing.
For us to really change. Yes.
The change is inevitable. That's the thing. The change,
it has to be.
Whether it's political or we start having volcanoes in Texas and Virginia. There's change coming. It's happening. The question is going to be what we can do to curb it. Mm-hmm. Can we control these changes? Can we lessen the impact?
With the changes, yeah.
And can we cope with them? Marijuana usage
it's a scary
is
thought
definitely coming, dude.
Marijuana
legalization is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what are you guys going to do? How are we going to handle the challenges that come with marijuana usage? They had that the summit on what was it, April 19th?
Yep. All right. So switching topics to the DC Marijuana Summit. Nice little segue there. So DC Marijuana Summit.
So that whole situation the situation was about whether or not we were going to legalize the public usage of marijuana in the District of Columbia. Mm-hmm. So they had a what do they call it? The Marijuana Smoke Summit or something on I think it was on the 14th, trying to set up a situation where people could see that, hey, we're smoking outside. We're showing these that we can do these things in public and nothing. There's no problems,
function.
And we're functional and we're regular people. And of course, everybody knows people have been using marijuana.
Hundreds of years, man.
Hundreds of years, thousands of years.
What do we think Indians were stuffing in those peace pipes? I mean, I don't know if it was tobacco,
Maybe some tobacco, but I think that's got some psychoactive elements as well.
I mean, it grows naturally. Mm-hmm. So what can you do?
And the summer was about whether or not we would be allowed to use these things in either public or private venues in DC. And I'm with the argument, whereas of course you're not going to be smoking inside of a restaurant.
Yeah, I don't want to take my son into a McDonald's and some guy smoking a blunt over in the corner.
Come on.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
But it makes sense to have certain areas where you can smoke it. I wouldn't be opposed to that if a certain venue, like a restaurant or a nightclub, is willing to
be allowed to host people, Or
open up a certain section of their establishment where you can go and smoke marijuana legally. Mm-hmm. Why not? You know what I mean? What is the problem? I don't understand. But
unfortunately, it got overturned, and
the only opposition I would have to this is, as we go back to, where does the rabbit hole end? I mean, when you open up the floodgates and you say, okay, guys, it's all right not only for you to carry weed, but you can smoke it in public. You can smoke it on a corner of a metro station. Maybe they're not going to say that. They want to smoke it in a certain restaurant or a certain nightclub. But when you open up those floodgates and you can bring weed into this nightclub or this restaurant or this certain corner where you can go stand and smoke weed, where does that stop, man? Because people are not going to stop. People take advantage of everything. People take advantage of
what's the worst case
scenario? Lunch. People take advantage of Section 8. People are going to take advantage of the government saying you can smoke weed in public. They're just going to. You have ignorant people.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you, some of you black people, okay, who are going to be walking around just smoking the blunt, just all loud. I'm sure there's some
Asians that smoke reckless too, man.
Yeah, but black people, come on, man. We have a tendency to be louder and more ignorant than some races sometimes, man. Some of us do.
I don't know.
I'm a black man myself, but let's be honest, we do have a tendency to be louder and a little more ignorant sometimes. And people are just going to take advantage of that, man. This article says that President Obama is putting legalization of smoking this marijuana wherever it's not even on his radar as far as his last year in office. Why should it be? this is such a puny subject in the grand scheme of things, man.
Oh, it's not though. This is all about if you can't control what you put into your body.
Maybe
then
puny.
What is freedom?
Maybe puny is the wrong word. Okay, but if I'm able to smoke a tobacco cigarette that'll give me cancer eventually, I should be able to smoke a marijuana cigarette that
get me high and give me cancer eventually.
Exactly, and has no bearing on whether I can drive, whether I can function in society.
Not to mention a million other medicinal benefits that come with it. So this actually, you probably won't get cancer from smoking a marijuana cigarette. Why should this be on Obama's radar?
This is such a small topic, as opposed to say government cover-ups and surveillance that they're not allowed to take, or even global warming stuff we just talked about. This is such a small topic. It's like,
look, I have
you
to.
can smoke it at home.
Disagree.
Listen, I got pulled over once, right? And the cop smelled weed. All right, got me out the car. He said, "Listen, man." He said, "This is because I told him I'm on my way to work. Blah blah. You know, I'll leave whether I was smoking weed or not, up to the opinion of the listener here. You know what I mean?" But he said,
"Plead the fifth."
I plead the fifth. But he said, "Listen, man, you know," he said, "Look, I'm out here, man. I'm having a tough time too." Said, "Man, they just foreclosed on my house." This is a cop telling me. Said, "About to foreclose on my house. You know, I got problems of my own, man." He's like, "Look, if you were smoking weed, you know to do it in your house, right?" He said, "You're not supposed to be doing it in public." I said, "Yeah, sure." They searched my car, didn't find anything, and let me go. Point of the story is, he said, do it in your house. These guys don't care if you do it in your house. Smoke weed for you before you go out to that restaurant. If you know you're going to go eat, smoke weed before that. You don't have to smoke just standing there on the corner. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. But hold on. So the whole legalization issue was not a small thing because
okay, fine.
So I have to run a counter argument. So there's this counter argument where I just read a story the other day, and this happened in 2012, right? So a guy was Child Protective Services came to take his son because a cop reported that he smelled this guy smoking marijuana. Mm-hmm. Never had any evidence, nothing. They sent Child Protective Services to come and get his son because a cop said that he smelled marijuana from this guy.
Now, legally, don't they have to find marijuana or evidence of you smoking marijuana there?
Well, you would think, yeah, definitely. That would make sense, right? But, you know, this is the law, whatever. They can do what they want because they make it. Like, the same reason that guy let you off was the same reason he could have shot you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same reason.
It's up to discretion.
So what happened was...
I was shocked when he said that. I was like...
They took his kid.
What?
He was fighting to get his kid back. They said he had a knife, and they shot him dead. The police shot him dead.
Black guy?
Probably. I don't know.
But the thing is, like, he was probably trying to wrestle the cops on the street to grab his kid physically out of the arms of whoever was there.
Whatever the situation
Don't react that way.
Whatever the situation was.
You're never going to get a good result by escalating the situation.
It wouldn't have happened if there wasn't this alleged marijuana situation.
Now,
you take that out of law, you take that out of the issue, then I guarantee 90% of the arrests won't happen. 90%.
Maybe that's why they won't do it. I mean...
It keeps the pockets
full in
the prison.
This is a business just as much as it's a legalization system, a legal system, but... I don't know. That particular instance is...
That was an extreme. I'll give it.
That's unique.
But yours is unique as well.
But they have a tendency to...
You have to say your situation is also unique, D.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised he said that, you know. Usually they would say, you're not supposed to have it at all. You know, where do you get it from?
Luckily, you had a cop who actually has some compassion because he's going through shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was like, our house about to be foreclosed on. He was like, I don't really want to have time for this, man. I don't want to arrest you for some stupid stuff like weed. You know, he's like, you're supposed to be doing it. Do it in your house.
Maybe he had his quota.
And that's what I'm going back to this whole DC legalization thing. Is like, do it in your house. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal to smoke in your house as opposed to smoking outside of a restaurant, you know? And that's why Obama's not taking it seriously. That's why I don't think the American public in general is taking it seriously. I don't think a lot of weed smokers in general, if you want to smoke weed, you're going to smoke it, regardless of whether you smoke it out there on the corner or not. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
And that's probably the best part about this, because we've already seen the effects of marijuana on the society. They love to say that we have a drug-free society, but that's absolute bullshit.
Oh, that's false.
Because people smoke weed. If you want to smoke weed, if you want to do drugs, you want to pop mollies, They're out there and they've been out there. You can't stop them.
Drug money props up the American financial system.
It does.
Okay,
yes.
I mean, this drug money flows through the system. I mean, this is billions of dollars a year in drug money. Where do you think that money is going? It's filtering through the American money system, monetary system.
Laundered,
you know what I mean?
Through it.
So,
and it's been proven.
Why would they want to stop it? They don't want to stop it. They want to give you the assumption that they're trying to control it. They might want to control it to a certain extent, but they don't want to completely stop drug flow.
You know
my thing is, if I can stand on the corner and smoke a Marlboro that is scientifically going to kill me, okay, that's totally legal for me to go to the Wawa and buy.
Stats,
I should be able to stand there and smoke a blunt.
Everything.
And why not? You know what I mean? I'm not bothering. Am I bothering anybody smoking this blunt as opposed to I'm bothering anybody smoking a cigarette? It's the same thing. You know, if you're gonna make it illegal for me to smoke a blunt,
it's not even synthetic.
Off to the side, you know, make it illegal for me to smoke a cigarette because it's the same annoyance would be happening. There's no impairment going on from driving a car or operating machinery or just functioning in society, smoking marijuana. It's almost like you're smoking a cigarette.
But you know what? There's another level with this, and this is an extreme example, and I'm definitely not recommending this as any way to proceed. But I've heard a story of a guy who he does heroin,
mm-hmm.
and he does it every day, and he does it. That's his thing. He does it on his lunch break. He works full time. It is a bad drug, but here's the thing: he works full time. He has a family, he has kids, and he shoots his regulated amount every day at work. And he goes on his lunch break and he continues work. He clocks out, goes home, sees his family, takes his kids to soccer or whatever, comes back, eats dinner, and he goes to work the next day. And he does it again.
And he's high the whole time.
And he's high the whole time he's doing it. It's like, all right, so what if the situation is that the only reason there's crime, there's people like robbing people to get their fix is because they can't afford their fix. You know, because these prices are unregulated. Because sometimes the shit is cut with some really chemically adverse stuff. Like,
I could never agree to.
We could just regulate the drug, provide help for people who want to get off, and that's really it. Instead of criminalizing it. And making it so it's hard to get, so they can boost prices on you. We have to sell TVs to get it.
They don't want to do that, man. They don't want to stop the distribution of these drugs because it's filtering money around. If they regulate it and they start saying, "Hey, this is the only place you can get heroin from," then you streamline the production and the buying of it. You streamline it, okay? So you don't have drug sales happening, you know, in back alleys all around the country. You don't have these little things happening.
The price hikes. And I mean, people can't afford it. They won't buy it. They're still going to try to get it from that corner guy. Because they need it. That's the situation. Because they will need it. They'll have it.
Me, man, I will never be a proponent. Marijuana, to me, is totally separate from heroin and cocaine. And marijuana is a poor man's drug. I mean, you know, the guy who works at McDonald's part-time can afford some marijuana, you know.
Yeah.
He might not be able to afford some heroin. Heroin is expensive, you know. I draw a certain distinction between marijuana and any other type of drug, even prescription drugs, Percocets, and those painkillers can be addictive too. You know, people get addicted to those shits.
They kill them.
So,
they die. You know?
I mean, it's a bunch of guys in the NFL, Prince, especially, get addicted to painkillers,
Whitney
man.
Houston,
Brett Favre was
Michael
addicted
Jackson.
to painkillers. I mean, so, you know, to me, this is totally different, man, because weed, you do feel the need to smoke when you don't have any, but it's not life-altering dependency on it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't smoke today, if you have a weed smoker and he doesn't smoke that morning, he'll be walking around like, man, I'm trying to find a blunt. I want a blunt. But it's not to the point where I can't function and go to work. And, like, that guy who was on that heroin, if he didn't have that fix, he might not be able to go to work. He might be physically sick. You won't get physically sick if you don't.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not at all, like, saying that's okay. You know, I'm not at all.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that. We're not saying that heroin is okay.
But what I'm saying is that criminalization of these things is not the way to solve a problem. To throw a person in jail is not a way to solve the problem of people who like getting high. Whatever the high may be.
Throwing a person in jail is feeding the prison industrial complex.
That's all that does.
That's the point.
That's not a very
that's why they want to throw you in jail. Look,
it's extremely profitable.
No,
sure,
they could come in here right now into this studio basement and throw me and you in jail. They would.
Yeah, they would.
Feeding the prison industrial complex.
Yes,
but yes, we'd be in jail. I'd be clapped in irons and I'd be off to
all they would need is a reason.
Exactly.
That's the only
I
problem.
Weed from the basement.
Exactly.
I smell it, and I was like, "Sir, it's an incense."
Smell like weed to me.
The weed flavor incense.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. That's all it takes, yo. So, just over an hour.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I know we had a couple more topics, right? What happened with the? My bad for the law. I hate laws on podcasts, man. I never want to go, even a couple of seconds without saying something or having something to bring up.
I need a better system of arranging my notes.
Yeah, no. Maybe we should get like a whiteboard, like a dry erase board, and just have them written up there so we could just look up and see it. Because right now people can't see us, but we're both scrolling our phones, trying to find these articles and these topics that we wanted to bring up before people start getting bored with us. Man, we're already about at an hour.
All right, so we could talk about the transgender thing.
Oh, man.
I know. We just had a whole political debate now.
This might be kind of biased about transgender.
All right.
Speaking as a straight man, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go in the men's bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I care about. Is the men's bathroom clean? All right? That's why, don't piss on the toilet and we won't have a problem. But, it's one thing.
Exactly. That's all I care about too, dude. Like, as a straight male as well. All I really care about is, that does not piss all over the floor. I ain't gonna slip on that jump, man.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna go in the man's bathroom. But all right. So we're talking about an article that we got.
So the incident stems from the whole what was it, the H2 law that they passed in North Carolina? I might have this completely mixed up.
Was this in North Carolina or was it in California?
So the situation we're talking about is the law that was passed in North Carolina banning transgender people from using bathrooms that they would prefer to use as a transgender sex they've changed to, right? But there was an incident in California where a transgender woman was attempting to use a woman's bathroom, but she looked like a male.
That's her fault.
Yes.
His fault.
Yes. No, it's her fault.
Okay, yes.
But wait, or is it
it's
his?
my fault. I don't know. It's my fault.
The problem is that under the law, she would be using the right bathroom, right? Like, as a woman,
she was in the woman's bathroom.
As a genetic, as born a woman, she would be using the right bathroom, going to the woman's bathroom, but she looked like a man. And so she went to use the woman's bathroom looking like a man, and somebody called the police, as they do. That's what gets people killed. People stop doing that shit until you ask some fucking questions. But as that happened, somebody called the police about it, and apparently this guy was hella close and sped to the scene for this incident. And
I get to go to the women's bathroom.
Exactly.
Man, like I just
who's a real pervert? And then he's in that joint. He's asking for ID, prove that you're a woman. Like, so now we need to use, and that was one of the arguments that came up. Now I need an ID to use the bathroom.
Did she get the piss? That's all I mean, that's the most important question. Like, did
honestly,
she use the bathroom?
I don't know.
Because if it was me, I'd be like, look, can I piss first before I take my ID out?
I think they arrested her.
I'd have been jumping around like, look, you don't want piss all in your patrol car.
Fine, I'll go in the other bathroom. Let me pee first.
Do something.
But yeah, so the situation is that, so we bring this incident over to North Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. And what the law they passed there. So how would that situation play out? Will people have to have IDs? Because honestly, some transgenders, the way the intricacy of how they do these surgeries is really extremely convincing.
Now it's weird. Like, what were you classified as on your birth certificate? I feel like whatever you were born as regardless of your sex change and the acknowledgement of your change, transgender, whatever, what's on your birth certificate? That, to me, determines what bathroom you should go into. You know what I mean?
That's what the law is saying in North Carolina.
It's what it should say, really. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's
So
hard to have any... I have more empathy towards Bruce Wayne being... and his parents being murdered in front of him, as opposed to this girl being kicked out of the girl's bathroom for not looking feminine enough. She was in the right. She was born a woman, going to the woman's bathroom. But she also, at the same time, actively chose to become and look like a man.
Right.
So, you have to expect these problems. Like... First of all, like, why don't you go in the bathroom with less fanfare? How did she get caught? Like, right? Can't you just slip into the bathroom?
Police. Look,
Can't I just slip into the bathroom and go to the bathroom and be out before you even get off the phone?
Well, no, not if you love your man, apparently. So here's the thing. So look, let me explain this part.
But that would be kind of weird if the girl was going into the girl's bathroom looking like a guy. That's like me going to the girl's bathroom at a club.
Exactly. But the law would say that because this law says that if you were born a woman and you've made a transgender to a male, you have to go to the women's bathroom. So there's going to be women that look like men in the women's bathroom all the time.
Which is why they want to come out with a transgender bathroom to avoid that problem.
Yes.
So do transgender men and women go into this transgender bathroom? Like, do transgender men and women go into this transgender bathroom? Like, are they going to have urinals and toilets?
Whoever needs to use it.
So they're going to have urinals and toilets in it.
The way I see it, just have whoever needs to go use the bathroom, use the bathroom. Like, it just hasn't been an issue until it just became an issue. Mm-hmm. Because they passed the law. This wasn't an issue until they decided to pass the law out of the blue. The situation is that if a woman or if a man that transitioned to a woman wants to use a women's bathroom, and that's what everybody's scared about. They think that there's going to be guys that are dressed up like girls to go and use the women's bathroom to perverts.
Filming girls.
But that's the problem. That's the thing. They're fucking perverts anyway.
Yeah.
And to blame an entire, I don't know if the word is let's just call them the LGBT community. The LGBT community. Just everybody, right? So to blame the entire LGBT community for a few perverts that are not even really LGBT is wrong. And they're kind of framing an entire community of people that are not like that. It's like framing all black people as criminals because some are thugs. True. That's really the literal equivalent. And this is my opinion, of course, but this is the way I see it. That is true
when you put in that aspect. Yeah,
and that's why people are fighting against this law. So when this situation happened in California, like, this kind of just drew that direct parallel. Like, what if... So this cop didn't have any real reason to... He didn't have a law enforcing him to do this. But imagine if those cops did have laws. And I don't like talking against police because there are some great police out there. Mm. Like the guy that hooked you up the other day with that situation.
Well, that was a couple years ago.
Years ago. All right. Well, that guy hooked you up, you know?
Just straight up
and I've had cops just letting me go for tickets, which I definitely should have got a ticket for. Just being cool. And that might just be the area we're in. But at the same time, there are some ignorant ass police out there. Who will take this law as a reason to card everybody who uses the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And what I really worry about is I hear people talking about Serena Williams and Michelle Obama. I've had an argument with a mother. All right, I've had an argument with a person online because that's what we argue with about some guy saying that Michelle Obama looked like a man, and I'm just
in the right light. She probably does.
Dude, that's not the point. The point is that imagine you have the same that same redneck was a cop saying that. Now that's where there's the problem when this stupid asshole has authority to arrest somebody because she wants to use the bathroom. Oh, now this woman has to prove that she's a woman. And how degrading is that on so many levels? You know, how disempowering is it?
See, it's like, where does the rabbit hole end?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
This is a slippery slope, and these people are not trying to acknowledge the situation, but it's a slippery slope. It's just going to end.
You'll never have people agree on this because a lot of people are so deeply.
They don't have to agree on it. Just don't make it a law. That's the only problem. You don't have to agree. I don't agree with that everybody can get a gun because they feel like it, but that's the law. But it's the law that they can get the gun. That's fine. You know, it's in our Constitution. Good. Mm-hmm. You know, great. I love a Constitution. But when you create a law like this to point out a certain group of people as sexual deviants, that's where injustice happens.
Yeah, I mean, I feel what you're saying. It's just kind of hard for me to identify with this because of my views on such subjects. Same thing even like our last topic with the marijuana legalization. Just my views on that subject make it hard for me to identify. But everybody has their rights to have rights. Transgender, gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever you are.
Drug users.
But, her rights were definitely trampled on. She went into the right bathroom. The only thing is, when you open up issues like this, man, where does the rabbit hole go? And that's why these politicians and these lawmakers are avoiding these issues, because they see to this one issue, they give to it.
They isolate.
What's to stop the next person from coming in and saying, well, this happened to me, and the next person comes in and say, well, this happened to me after that, and it's like it keeps going and going. It's like it'll never end,
Well,
I think the obvious answer to this particular issue is for more public places to have transgender bathrooms.
Right.
Have transgender places where transgenders can go and use the bathroom. She/he has the right to use the bathroom. They're in a public venue. You know what I mean? Let her go to the bathroom. Like,
it doesn't have to be transgender. Just a unisex bathroom. Anybody can use that bathroom. Not just for transgenders.
no,
Anybody can use this bathroom.
it comes down to the individual persons. People are gonna have a problem with that.
What?
Yeah.
Unisex?
Oh, having a unisex bathroom? Yeah,
There's unisex bathrooms
because
now.
men and women are nasty.
They are nasty.
Well, regardless, like
Both y'all motherfuckers.
both of y'all motherfuckers can't stand y'all motherfuckers.
Oh. But, they're unisex bathrooms now. You just don't everybody go in at the same time. How about one at a time?
I'm always confused, like when I go out to the mall and stuff, how they say they have the man and women's bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And then they have family bathroom.
Yeah.
What is that?
Unisex.
So,
Because
I'm always like,
it's a bathroom where you can go in and change your kid, right?
Like, I don't have a daughter.
But if you have a man and you need to take your kid in, you could go in and take your kid in.
Like,
if
I don't have a daughter,
you need to...
but if I did have a daughter and I went out somewhere and they had a men's bathroom, I might take her to the men's bathroom. Like,
I do. I have a daughter.
Yeah,
I take her to the men's bathroom if she needs to go.
She's got to go.
Especially if it's in a public place, I don't know what's going on. I'll just take her with me.
Exactly. Like,
hey, we'll go in the stall. I'll set you up. Good. Do your business.
Go pay.
So it's just... A lot of it comes down to... I mean, some of it's obviously common sense. For God's sakes, people. Like, one thing alright, memes get on my nerves. Because they purposely...
They're funny
sometimes. Yeah, hell yeah. But they purposely fudge the issue. They purposely fudge the debate. But some people take memes as fact. And that's what scares me. Because memes... Look, everybody... I'm saying this right now. Everybody, I'm saying this right now. If there's a meme, do not believe it. Ever. Check for yourself. I argue with people.
I thought the purpose
I don't want to say no
was
names, dude.
Humor.
I ain't gonna say no names, dude. But I've had to argue with people over memes.
Any meme I've ever seen had a humor at the base of it. It's supposed to be funny. I always took it.
Not always.
I've never even seen like a political
You
meme.
remember Trump made a meme the other day talking about percentage of the black people in killings and stuff. That was a meme he reposted on his Twitter. Those facts are completely illegitimate. Were created by a white supremacist organization. Mm-hmm. And they were completely fabricated. Those statistics were completely fabricated. Now, if nobody did the research on those and they took those as fact, then of course you would think that 90-80% of black people, whatever those numbers were killers, Mm-hmm. And that's how people's prejudices get.
They get stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good word. Stoked.
I mean, who knows, man? Donald Trump's a clown. Like, anytime you bring Donald Trump up in conversation, it's like you immediately think of, you know what I mean? Like, you squeeze somebody's nose and shit.
Ronald McDonald?
Yeah, just think of Ronald McDonald. Like, he's a clown, man.
Yeah.
Take this guy seriously.
Man. There's a lot of people out there who are furious at you for saying that. How dare you?
There's a lot of people
out there. Dare you?
There's a lot of people out there that hang me for saying that shit, man. I get lynched for saying some shit like that. Exactly. I get hung.
Exactly,
fucking clapped in irons and taken to the I like that phrase tonight, clapped in irons. If anybody tell you they're going to clap you in irons, you should be afraid. Be very afraid.
Like, damn.
Yeah, man. Well, let's see. Any other topics? What did you, like I said before, I hate silences in podcasts, so I'm going to try to talk my way through the lull here.
Segways. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I know, right? We need to work on our segue game.
Segue game on leak, son.
Yeah, it's like your pull-out game. You got to work on that shit. I don't know where that came from. Apologies. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it's almost wrapping this thing up, man. Oh man, so earlier this week, what do you think about Baby going on the Breakfast Club, man?
All I know is he's a genius because he definitely made some clothes out of that.
I love all the memes that came out this week about that best, man. I mean, that was just hilarious to me, man.
Yeah.
That didn't happen this week. It happened last week, but.
Yeah, it was last week, but that joint was definitely. First off, it was definitely funny. Nobody knew what was happening.
It kind of
that's the funniest part. Nobody knew what was going on.
It kind of revitalized Baby's career because I mean, who was really thinking about Baby up to that point?
If he dropped a song right now called "Respeck," I would listen to that joint. Son.
It had to be hard. You had to have a hard beat.
I'll bump that joint.
You'd have to have a hard beat though.
It would be on my Facebook.
Be like some random scrub off song.
That joint had a good beat. It's just like Respeck.
My only advice to Baby is like you have to understand when you're dealing with a media market like New York, and when you go on a radio station, even here, you have guests that come on radio stations here. We live in Northern Virginia. So we have a radio station, 106.7 The Fan. It's a local sports radio station. And guests go on there and they get mad at the host and everything. And they kirk out sometimes. But guess what? After you kirk out, regardless of what's said and goes on, you leave. The hosts stay. You know what I mean? So Baby comes in, he kirks out. Charlamagne, Envy, and Angela Yee stay there. All they're going to do is sit and clown you after that. You know what I mean? So these radio show hosts, they enter most of our lives, people who listen to that show, they enter our lives daily. You know what I mean? People in New York listen to Angela Yee and Charlamagne and Envy daily. They have more trust and they know these guys better than Baby. So whose side is the mass public going to be on? You know what I mean? They're going to say, yo, Baby, you look like a fool. We don't know what you were talking about. You coming in there yelling at these dudes that's hosting this radio show that we listen to every single day. You sound like an idiot. You know what I mean? And then you see all the memes come out. And all
but that's the thing. So there's the other part of it is the internet. The internet is extremely unpredictable and it's volatile. And
the internet's a mean place, man.
It's a mean place. So and they'll take a serious issue.
Man, all right?
They're going to be mean. It's all right.
They're going to be mean.
They'll be mean. We take it. So here's the thing. The internet will take something like Baby coming in, kirking out, talking about how they got put Respeck on his name. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. And the internet just starts making memes and just starts making videos.
Instantly.
And people just go crazy. And that's just what... That probably happened like probably 10 minutes after he left.
Instantly.
Like, that's not even Charlamagne so much. That's not even the Breakfast Club so much as it is just the internet just going crazy. As soon as that joke was released, people look at that joke just laughing like, what the fuck was that about?
And what? I give
just
Baby
like Donald Trump in 7-Eleven. Never forget.
Look, I give Baby respect in this regard. He went there, just like he said in the interview, I wanted to look you in your face. You know what I mean? Because he could have started, nowadays, you could have started Twitter beef. Or you could have put something on Instagram. Y'all going back and forth with the Insta or Snapchat. Y'all Snapchatting and all this back and forth. No, he went to the studio, looked them all in their face, regardless of how clownish he was. He went there, looked them in their face, and said some of what he wanted to say. He could have done a better job explaining what the fuck was going on. Because nobody knew why you were coming in there lunching out, what they said.
Maybe
they probably said... Right. I'll give them this. They probably said something. They probably did say something to make them mad.
Charlamagne, the guy probably said some shit.
But that's their job. They're in radio. They're supposed to push the gossip and push the envelope.
Fuck with people just cause.
But they did probably say something.
But that's why we like him, though. That's why we like this dude.
At least Baby went there, looked him in their face. He said, I'm talking to you, nigga. You know what I mean? Like, he went there, looked him in his face. It's not necessarily that I'm giving him props that he was hard, like he brought his goons in there and he gonna fuck him up. He went there and talked to him. Face to face. It's like me and you sitting here with each other right now.
But he didn't, though. Because nobody knew what the fuck he was talking about.
He didn't talk to him because nobody knew what he was talking about, but he went there. You know what I mean? Because he could have went to Twitter and said something.
That's part of the show. People go in that joint all the time. Sinbad was in that joint a couple months ago. It's like everybody goes in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck Baby was talking about. Nobody knows what Baby was talking about.
But it was
like,
funny.
It was funny. And the internet ran with that joke.
Yeah, it was funny.
And that's the best part about our day and age. Because shit like that can happen. The fact, you know, another great thing the internet does, though, is they memorialize Prince in a way that's probably never have happened. Mm-hmm. And Michael Jackson. So as soon as Prince, like, there's millions of murals. Like, you just Google Prince art right now, and you'll just see nothing but amazing pieces of art from people all over the world.
The internet gives each individual person a voice and a channel to display your talents, or to have a voice, or to, you know, just have a direct line to the issue at hand. You know, Prince's death, you can leave a comment on his page. Your comment is there, you know what I mean?
It's there.
Your voice is there, you know what I mean?
Amongst the billions, but it's there.
Like you said, with the mural art, I can upload a picture of some art of Michael Jackson to the internet. It's there, you know. That's you know, so
somebody's gonna see it. Tool. Dude, we have 10 views on our first show. 10 views.
Sometimes you get clowned.
I'm excited.
From dude is the internet, all right.
Dude's the internet.
He's a clown. I give him that. Just to finish the topic off, he's a clown, but I give him props for going down. At least looking him in the face, you know, like a man. He could have did something over Twitter or the internet.
He might have been high though. Yeah. He probably high as shit.
I don't think so.
Because he took his glasses off and put them back on, and took them off. And
I think he was a country bumpkin. I think he was just kind of nervous about. He knew where he was going to. You're on New York radio, man. You knew where you were going. Like I think he was just nervous. I don't know if he was high, but
he's a rapper. He can't be nervous.
Hey! Stop being so racial up in this piece, all right? Yeah, what do you mean? He's a rapper? What are you trying to say?
He's a rapper.
He's a black guy.
Those black guys are loud.
That black dude, he has to be high.
Those black fellers?
Yeah, he got to be high.
Black fellers loud in their marijuana.
Look at this black guy. He's got to be high. Oh, man.
Yo, all right.
Black people stay high.
Look, back to the internet. Internet's a beautiful place. It's the only way we can get laughs like this. The only way we're able to bring this show to you. Whoever's listening, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
We appreciate it. So I guess we're gonna wrap this joint up.
Able to voice our opinions and you know, put it into a format where we can just sit and talk about issues that people might have interest in. You know, like my co-host Juce said, appreciate you guys for listening. This is episode number 2.
The Intelligent Idea Talkers.
The Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast.
Yo.
Yeah, man. We'll come back next week, episode 3. I don't know what we'll discuss.
It's gonna be dope though.
If you guys are looking for particular topics of discussion, we kind of just want this podcast to be a fluid one where we just talk about things as they come to us.
We're open to your opinions. We're open to your suggestions.
Yeah, man. If you want us to talk about something that we didn't talk about, you want us to talk longer about something that we did talk about.
And if you have some corrections about some things I may have said, don't go crazy. Like I said, we don't. But I'm open for constructive criticism. I know sometimes my comic book info is off.
Criticism is good, but like we just said, the internet is mean. Okay, so don't be mean to us, guys. All right?
We love y'all.
No, man. Like, you know, but if there are any corrections, we'd love to hear it. Drop us a comment, and yeah, man. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
You know, this is D signing off.
Juice signing off. Peace to the internet.